Hello and welcome to a Rooted in Nature podcast with the real deal, why wood veneer always wins. Today we're going to dive into the world of veneer and its alternatives and why choosing veneer is always the right option. So dive with us into this episode.
Rooted in connection. Rooted in design. Rooted in nature. Rooted in craftsmanship. Rooted in innovation. Join us and explore the spirit of wood. Welcome to Rooted In, a Decospan podcast.
Hello and welcome again. I'm here joined with Jan and Michiel and we're going to dive into why wood veneer always wins. So with me I have Jan Larso, external sales manager of Krydsfiner Hislin. He's been working with the company for 17 years. And Krydsfiner, apologies, I'm trying to work on my Danish accent. Krydsfiner is a Denmark-based wood-based materials distributor, founded almost 100 years ago, so already quite a history, with a product focus on decorative boards and raw boards. And about a year ago, the company became part of the Krydsfiner group. Was that correct? Anything to add? Or
that was super.
Okay, perfect. And with us as well as Michiel. Michiel is the global sales director of the Decospan group and focused on the veneer products division. He's been working with the company for about 10 years. And before that, you had about 10 years of experience in the melamine industry.
Yes.
Yeah, so we bring a very interesting perspective to the table as well. And I'm Marieke de Smet. I'm your moderator of the podcast today, and I'm a product manager at Decospan. We're going to dive right in. Very interesting topic. I think we all have quite a lot of opinions about wood veneer, and this is the format where we can express them. So maybe first, Michiel, you have a very unique position in the industry, having both had experience in the alternatives and experience in the veneer industry. What sets veneer apart from its alternatives?
Well, I think there's one true baseline. It's the real deal. There's only veneer. It's wood. It's the real thing. So for me, I underestimated it enormously. I thought I knew something about wood. In all honesty, I didn't know anything about it. They had to explain to me what the difference was between a crown and a quarter and those things. So for me, it was a new world, in all honesty, a new world to go from the melamines towards the veneer world. So learned a lot and learned that there's a place for both of them. So if you look at the veneer, it's a different thing, it's the real thing. But I still believe there will be for both a part in projects.
And how do you look at it, Jan, from your point of view?
I think the same way as Michael, because there is the good thing about wood. You will never have two boards that will look similar. So you will have the real wood feel, and I think that is the most positive thing about using real materials. It's not only by using wood; it's also marbles and granites. You will also have this, where the melamine industry also tried to push. So, and I have been in the wood business for 25 years, and also dealing solid wood, and has always been a wood man, you can say. So I will always go that way. And of course you have projects where you have to use a melamine or a laminate. So when you're dealing with food, but otherwise, I think most of people would prefer a real wood.
And how do you look at the alternative having a solid wood versus a veneer? How do you look at solid? How do you compare those two in your mind?
You will have specifications where it's nice to have a solid wood. If you have you need a stronger edge. You have things where the solid wood is good, but it definitely works very good with veneer, and you can have much more nicer picture in the wood when you do veneer, and a lot of people don't know that. They actually say, I would like solid wood and I need the crown to be 20 centimeters wide, and say it's not possible to do. You have to use veneer, and veneer had a bad name actually also in Denmark. Because people doesn't know what it actually means. Because some people look at it as a melamine, but we have to explain them that it's real wood. just cut super thin, and then you can make this white lanes for having nice structures in it. And you can't do that in solid wood.
Yeah. Is that something you come across with? It's hard to convince people, Michiel, on using veneer?
It depends on what you compare. I think there are a lot of expectations. I think, first of all, for a lot of people, you still have to explain what veneer is. It's not something that's common that everybody knows. I'm sure when I talk to 10 friends of mine, I think 5 or 6 won't even know what veneer is. So, but the moment you explain it, then it's a nice product to explain. I think, first of all, it's a scarce product, so I think veneer is a very good alternative to have the real, but still have the how do you call it, the scarceness of the log, to use it as maximum in the best way possible. So I think that's a very good thing. Do you have to explain it regarding melamines as well? And that's always fun, because people expect the perfectness of melamine, but you can never have it. You can never have the perfect, and that's what makes it nice. Mm-hmm. So do you have to explain it 100%? Yes. Do I like to explain it 100%? Yes.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
fun to learn about wood towards people. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And have you seen this road of alternatives, or the transformation of alternatives? How have you seen it evolve over the past 10 years, Jan?
Yeah, for the last 10 years, we started out with a melamine that was high gloss, nothing looked like wood at all. And today, we're getting actually closer with the melamine. The feels much more like wood, but still, when you take 10 boards, they will all look the same. And you will never get that in a real wood veneer. And that's part of the charm, using real wood. Mm-hmm. But of course, it's getting better. It's getting closer. But I don't think it stands a chance for the real wood. I think there will always be people that want the real deal, and especially in our by our customers. I have not a lot of customers using melamine, not as a wood look. They will use white, gray, and black, and always use a real veneer or solid wood as the fronts and everything.
As a Scandinavian market, is a very wood-centric market as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But it is true, and I agree fully that if you compare melamines, when I started 20 years ago, I think, but now it's a huge difference. In all honesty, it's better, it's nicer. The touch, you have the embossed products and everything, so it looks better. But for me, that doesn't need to be a bad thing. I think we're all representing wood and wood decors and all those things. So in general, I just see it as something positive even, because again, it's a scarce product. So if everybody would ask for a veneer, there would not be enough. But they're also promoting wood, which is a good thing, the wood prints and all those things. Because at the end, you can discuss long about it. A lot of people want real wood. It's like a floor. If you're in a house, in your living room, I would prefer to have a parquet. How do you call it in English?
Yeah.
So it's something that you want. You have the touch of warmth and those things. So is there a place for a melamine? Yes. But will there be a place for the veneer? Yes. Are they pushing us a bit left and right? Yes. They do. But that doesn't need to be a bad thing. I think it pushes ourselves as well to continue to develop our products and other things. Like it helps us evolving as well. We just have to make sure that veneer remains accessible, that everybody can understand the beautiness of the veneer. Because the knowledge with the architects, it's also sometimes declining a bit of wood. Everywhere you see that. So it's our job and our mission, I think, to make sure that veneer, which is a beautiful and noble product, remains available and accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's, but they're getting better.
We can also see it as a compliment that they're copying the wood look. If they would all start copying another element, then we might need to be a little bit scared.
It shows that wood is still, people like the view of wood, and we add the extra pepper and salt of the real wood.
Yeah, definitely. And you have this I don't know what you call it, the truth that it is the real deal. I think that is also a huge part of it.
It's the emotion behind it. I think it's something that's sometimes hard to grasp, but it evokes a feeling that is sometimes very hard to replicate.
You see that with architects as well. They like to work with real nature products and everything, so they prefer working. A lot of them prefer working with real wood.
Yeah.
Maybe focusing a little bit on a different topic, we see an increased demand of using wood in public buildings, especially in your home market in Scandinavia. Is there a big push to use more wood in public buildings, but regulations often make it quite difficult to use more wood. What can be done to still achieve that or fulfill that demand?
Yeah, it is a big thing because it can be difficult to take some flammable materials, putting into buildings with a lot of people, of course. But I think a lot of the baseboard producers is actually helping us a long way with doing better baseboards for the veneer, also for the melamine, of course. But in terms of that, I think we come a long way with the new boards from also your suppliers, from Unilin, and we can do a lot actually, and we try to convince the politicians in Denmark, also maybe look into some of the rules that maybe have been a little bit too strict. Also because in Denmark we try to push the rules even further, so you have the EU rules, and then we actually twist it a little bit more, and Denmark making it even harder. So as the Danish Timber Trade Federations actually works with the politicians, try to explain why use wood and what the possibilities is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but on the other hand, certifications, it's good that there are regulations and other things. It's important. They should continue to do so. It's good for a company as us who invest a lot in those things because we want to do it the right way, obviously. On the other hand, for me, what's perhaps more difficult is that it's not internationally regulated. So for us as a company who is, we're in Scandinavia, we're in the United States, and we're in New Zealand and everything in between. So therefore, that's the problem, that sometimes you need one certification, for instance, for Scandinavia, and then you have to invest in that, but then you cannot use it in other markets. So I think it's important to, in my world, it would be easier if there would be more uniformization in regulation. That's what I think about. And sometimes customers don't always understand that, but we try hard to find the right answers for that.
Indeed, very much so. And it's about being honest and putting the hot potatoes sometimes on the table,
100%.
and not having the conversation about regulations, but indeed uniformization would be a great help in that respect. Maybe can you share some examples of projects that are close to your heart, where wood was put as central in the design? You have any recollection, Jan, of a project that jumps to mind?
I think the world famous restaurant Noma is one of the big projects where we actually had with also you guys also did some boards for Noma. They built a huge shell in the middle of the restaurant where you can look into the kitchens, and it's an old military building, so it's quite cold. Mm-hmm. And then you put some wood in it with some nice warm colors. So that is also some of the things that wood actually can do. And we also did another Michelin restaurant just. I think it's almost finished now. Also, where you supported with 100 boards, but that was actually also on fire retardant boards from Unilin. Mm-hmm. So and that's the case for many of our customers. They are doing high-end restaurants, high-end private houses, and we actually put a lot of wood in that. And again, not that much melamine, because when you're paying a huge amount of money, you will always go with the real deal.
And do you have any recollection what wood species was chosen in Noma and the other restaurant?
Noma was Douglas.
Douglas fir.
And the other one, the restaurant here, was oak.
Okay. That's very nice to hear, and it's if I ever am lucky enough to go and dine at Noma, I will have a particular look at the veneer section.
I'll join you.
Maybe we can make it a company escape. No, but that's great to hear. It's always amazing to hear about projects where wood was used, and indeed the way you mention it, to bring warmth in a building, it adds character and elements, and a special element to it that is important to hear. An important factor in veneer is the fact that every tree is different. We already mentioned it in the beginning of the podcast. Do you see that as an advantage or a disadvantage? Because our customers are becoming also more demanding. They're getting a bit taught by the alternatives what the image of wood could be. How do you reflect upon that, seeing the wood look evolve that much in the alternatives, Michiel?
Difficult question. It's not always easy because, again, I already mentioned it, that a lot of our customers, they expect it to be perfect. Wood needs to be perfect. But the fact that there's some imperfection shows that it's wood. So you cannot drive that. So it's a bit a double feeling. So the expectations of people are going up, and we have to be able to respond on that, which makes it sometimes a bit difficult. But for me, then I speak personally, I think having some special characteristics in woods makes it unity. It identifies the piece of wood. Like if you look at a melamine, like you said, it's the same. It can be beautiful, but it's every time the same. With wood, you'll never have the same, which for me is good. But we have to educate people. We have to make sure they understand the tree before they buy veneer, and that's one of the challenges that we're having, I think. So positive, but also a bit work for us to be done.
Yeah. And I think when you put a carpenter into the project quite early, there will be some part of it going the real wood way. But if you just look at a small sample and take a picture and do the project out of a picture or a sample that is 10 by 10 centimeters, and you demand the whole project, maybe 100 boards will look like that, then you will have the problem or trouble to actually get the goal there, because it will never happen with real wood. And I also think that is also why you did in some of your collection actually have taken the LPV veneer in to do a wood that actually could make 100 boards that are similar. It's still wood, and you can do a lot with it. But of course, you will never have the difference in that kind of board than you have in a mix match board or a crown cut board. And yeah, if the project are being done with a carpenter quite early, you will definitely have the wood from the start. Yeah. And the architect will also know what can be the problems with it, of course, because you will not have uniform in it. Yeah.
Setting expectations is everything. And I always make the same. When a customer says, I have a sample, it doesn't look like my sample. That's the only certainty you have with veneer. It will not look like your sample. So we can go as close as possible, but it's unique, so it will never be the same. So yeah.
You touched upon a very interesting point before, because you touched upon the topic of reconstituted veneer. So real wood, but that is made to look like a different wood species. Like, for example, you take a fast-growing wood species like Ayus, where in 15 years you have a mature tree. You can use it to build a look of an oak or a walnut or an exotic wood species. Michiel, from your perspective, how do you see that in the market? Is it an alternative to natural veneer, or do you see it as an ally to natural veneer?
I see it as a difficult question. It's an ally, I would say, because first of all, certain wood species are not there. You cannot get it or enough. So then, if the look is beautiful, then you have to have your solution, your answer, which is still wood. So you still have the touch of a wood. So it's an important one, I think. So the scarceness of the product will be one. So I see it as a positive thing. But like you're saying, I think in certain projects, it's an ally for wood veneer when the expectation is to have big projects and other things, to have a bit the same continuity, then I think it's a good solution. You're still working with veneer, you're still working with wood, but you have a solution for a certain expectation. So for me, I see it as an ally. So I think in the future it will has its place for sure next to the natural veneers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because you will still have the feeling as a wood, as you said, and you have wood species where it's quite difficult to get or even illegal to get. So yeah, there is a part of the infinity wood where it has a place, definitely.
And then maybe switching on a different topic, how does the cost of wood veneer compare to alternatives? Because cost often comes into the factor. We can talk all the beauty we want, but indeed sometimes oftentimes cost comes into play. How does it compare, and how do you address that with customers doubting in between a veneer-based product or a wood look on an alternative product when cost is a focus point?
I think the cost with the wood board or veneer board, of course, it is a bit higher because the process in the CNC, the process with the guys handling are the same, but then you have to do the surface, and of course that will cost extra. But then you will still have the possibility to repair it, to make a slightly other color that you want. And that's the thing that you will never have the possibility to do in a melamine. So you have 5 decors in oak, and if you don't like them, bad for you. And you will have thousands of possibilities in a real wood. So of course it's a bit more expensive, but when your project is done, I don't think it's a big deal if the cost were a bit higher per square meter, because the end product is still expensive.
Anything you want to add on that, Michiel?
No, I fully agree. So, but there are 2 things. First of all, you have cost and value. So I think it brings value. For instance, if you're a furniture manufacturer and you're bringing everything in real wood, it has its value. So it will cost more, but the value is also there. And the second thing we always have to look at is the total cost, like you say. So if you look at as a euro per square meter, like we typically do in our business, you save 20% more expensive. But it's always an interesting exercise to do, like you're suggesting. Let's have a look on the total project. What is the impact and what's the value you get for that? And I think that's the right answer to give to a lot of customers. Because if you look at only from here, then it's cost is higher. We have to say it as it is. It will be higher. It will always be higher. You have to make sure that it remains accessible, because the finishing can also do a lot. Like for us with our Chinook, we give the solutions there as well. But if you look at the total costs of your the room that you're fitting or whatever, I think it's explainable, easy explainable even. So, but people have to see the value. If they don't see the value of it, it's difficult to sell it.
Yeah.
And there, Decospan will try to help to explain or to educate on what the value is of bringing wood.
We will help, not try to, we will.
Apologies, we will help.
Yeah.
So maybe a final question. What advice would you give to a customer, a designer, an architect, when he's making the selection between materials? Why choose, in 1 or 2 sentences, why choose the real deal? Michiel?
For me, it's emotion. It's the warmth of the product. That's where I think it's one of a kind emotion that you're buying.
Yeah, and you buy the truth. What you see is what you get. It's not a fake.
Those are beautiful words to end the podcast with. We're already at the end now. So to summarize, wood is emotion. It's the real deal. Why go for an alternative if you have the beautiful real product? Thank you, Michiel and Jan, for your presence here. Please stay tuned for all our next podcasts. And if you want to know more about wood veneer, please go and visit our Decospan website. The link is in our show notes. And if you have any further questions, please reach out via our website or socials. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.